The outright gall of some people. Do they think the people of South Australia are morons? Take this man, Dennis Holder, president of Wild Catch Fisheries and the major player in this state's commercial blue crab fishery. In the Port Lincoln Times, he claimed he wants to protect his industry from climate change, so is looking to massively extend the blue crab fishing zones as far south as the Australian maritime borders. So let's put some facts on the table. His industry, well, he's right there. Dennis and his wife Karen hold 4 of the 9 licences in this state, so basically they represent half of the industry. His claims of climate change are just not supported by his own and PIRSA Fisheries data on the fishery. The latest Econsearch data for 2017 showed the industry took a record catch of 627 tonnes of crabs from Gulf St Vincent and Spencer Gulf. The year before, it was 625 tonnes, so there's been no decline in catch. According to PIRSA, the pod fishers have caught all of their quota for the past 10 years. Recent stock assessments show pre-recruit levels are at the highest on record, and both Gulf stocks are classified as sustainable. Yep, no effects of climate change there. The Econsearch report claimed the majority, that is 8 of the 9 licence holders, and don't forget the holders have 4 licences, indicated the fishery stock was healthy and the long-term outlook for the fishery was positive. So the holders agree everything is rosy. But what about the effects of climate change? Oops, that appears to be a newbie. But it is a line being trotted out by the marine scale fishers, especially those hunting snapper and King George whiting. Ah, I get it. It's an emotional heartstring in order to get more access to fish stocks. But let's bring greed into the equation. In June last year, each blue crab licence had an average boat gross income of $900,000. Now for the holders, that's multiplied by 4, which gave them $3.6 million. And for that income, they paid about $33,000 a licence in fees to PIRSA. But they didn't pay 1 red cent to the public of South Australia for harvesting their resource. Don't forget, the income per licence could be much higher because Sardi underestimates the value because they are based on wholesale prices received at the Adelaide market. Evidence from licence holders suggests a large proportion of the catch is marketed either at the Sydney or Melbourne markets, where prices received are considerably higher than can be obtained at the Adelaide market. So who actually knows how much those licences actually earned? The Brains Trust in PIRSA cut the recreational bag limit of blue crabs from 40 to 20 back in 2016, based on that scientifically flawed 2014 recreational fishing survey, which claimed the Recs caught 375 tonnes. So in an instant, the Rec catch, based on those figures today, would be only 187 tonnes. But PIRSA gave the pro crabbers an extra 50 tonnes in the same breath. That's a nice little windfall of $500,000. As you can see, management arrangements by PIRSA are basically to support the whims of the commercial crabbers. Holder once again says, for 4 years he's been trying to instigate a third line shift to mitigate the effects of climate change. He just wants a bigger area to crab to increase the quota and has marked areas such as south of Tumby Bay, including Port Lincoln. To help with this massive expansion, PIRSA has now allowed these resource thugs to crab in Gulf St Vincent during public holidays and weekends, which they haven't been allowed to do. They snuck this in 4 years ago under the guise of a test during November the 1st to January 15th to allow the pros to supply the Sydney and Melbourne markets for Christmas. It was a ploy to lead up to this latest announcement. Remember Holder's claims about climate change and future-proofing his industry? It's an unstable form of management that panders to the power of one within the pot fishing sector. Here's another joke. The report claims The value for each blue crab licence is $3.5 million. But this value is based on the licence holder's own estimates. Of course it is. Hey Mum and Dad, remember the claim by these fishers that they supply you, South Australians, with blue crabs? Well, they admit they send the majority of the catch interstate, but do allow you to buy them at the Adelaide markets at $30 a kilogram. That's about 3 crabs, or $10 a crab. Aren't you just overcome with emotion at the generosity of these blue crabbers? I do understand there's a push behind the thick oak doors at Perza to introduce a licence per crab net and rake used by the mums and dads to try and get a feed during their holiday breaks. That's if you can get out during these times without tangling up the lines of the pro crab fleet, which will be on your doorstep. Kids under the age of 2 will be exempt from the licence. Gee, thanks Perza.